Saying nothing, man. Yo, people, we back again for another year. New year, new intentions, new goals. You know them ones there. We're at 70. I keep saying 70, and I don't like saying that. We need to move on from 70. You know, it was nice while it lasted, but you know the ones we have to push through and aim for higher heights, isn't it? So let's get them subs up. You know, the usuals, like, comment, and subscribe, and share with your people. 2022 has begun and hasn't changed with certain men. It hasn't changed with certain men. So we're going to just go straight to United. It's obviously their men have just played just now and they lost. Let's stop with all the talking. Denzel, what's going on with your boys? What's going on?
The thing, you know what makes this whole situation. Okay, firstly, I want to say I'm sick and tired of watching Man United. Apart from the UCL games, I don't plan on watching them for the rest of the season because it's just watching crap, watching BS. It's boring. It's negative. It's just draining emotionally and mentally. I just hate it. I don't enjoy football anymore. So this whole season's it's basically a no one void. And the most frustrating thing is like, people would use Oli as the skate. You're laughing, but it pisses me off that you're laughing right now.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Now it's getting one. Okay, so the thing is, like, before there was a scapegoat with Oli. You can't be doing the scapegoat thing anymore. Obviously, you have to look at the players. Like, I saw someone tweet something like, "Oh, Ragnick didn't make any subs, blah blah blah." I'm like, you can't be blaming Ragnick for what we just witnessed. Did you not just watch what the players were doing? Oh man, you can't be blaming the manager who's just come in and tried to implement a system. You can't play a high pressing attacking football when all your players are lazy and aren't willing to put in the flipping effort. Like, it just gets on my nerves. Bruno Fernandes, I love Bruno Fernandes, but since this season he's been trash. He's been whack. Today when he came on, he missed the sitter. He lost the ball so many times. I'm getting annoyed with him. I'm getting frustrated with him. Players that should be stepping up. Sancho, he's been trash. He's been whack. He's been terrible. What has he done since he came to United? Nothing. All he does one little 2-2 close control. I don't care. He's not producing nothing. He's getting on my nerves as well. Another player that is getting on my nerves. In fact, today I'm not even going to go on to CR7 because if he didn't get service, so I can't even go on to it. I'm not going to go on to CR7. Rashford as well. Questionable. The only thing I'll blame Ragnick for is I don't understand why he took off Greenwood when Greenwood was playing well. Like, I don't see why he took off Mason Greenwood. That didn't make any sense. And he's even playing him out of position because he's playing him in the midfield when he's meant to be a striker. It's just, I just think the 4-2-2-2 is not working, and it's not going to work with that bunch of lazy players because they don't work. They don't work hard. And it's just frustrating because if you know when you turn on the TV and you watch Man United, it's just going to be a crap performance. Week in, week out, crap performances. Win, lose, draw, crap performances. And I'm sick and tired of it.
Wow. Okay. Let's actually focus now. I know Denzel said he didn't want to focus on Ragnick, but let's actually look at him. And let's actually look at this and think, United still could have got Ragnick in the role that they wanted, but in terms of a manager, do you think there was better options out there that they could have gotten? So I'll start with you, Dan, and we'll go around.
Nah, I don't think so. I think all the managers, I think they wanted Zidane as the primary option, but he wasn't interested in the job. And I think all the other managers were not looking to leave mid-season. So I think what they done in getting Ragnick in the interim and then consultancy is probably the best option.
I hear that. So like short-term pain for long-term gain in the sense.
Yeah. Because I mean, they weren't going to get like Ten Hag or Pochettino, who I think are their two main targets now, like mid-season, and them appointing someone for like a year that they don't really truly want is just going to bring them backwards.
Because when I was looking at it, because I remember I was asking you, I was like, how good is Ragnick? Because I don't really know much about him from a managerial perspective, and I don't really know. Obviously, everybody talks about him being the father of Gegenpressing and stuff like that. But outside of that, I don't really know too much in it. But I don't know. I kind of sided with the idea that they probably should have got Ernesto Valverde for the rest of the season, and then I don't know if there was a way to still get in Ragnick to help with the boardroom in it. Because I don't know, like, it just seems like a continuation from Oli. Obviously, you want to give the manager more time, but
Ragnick's
just
not a
have no
manager
control.
though. Like he's not. He's more like a one of the board staff, one of the backroom members of staff. Like he's not. I wouldn't look too much into his coaching with this Man United team because I don't think that's his long-term role and preferred role. If you know what I mean, it's more to do with the kind of culture around the club and the signings and recruitment they bring in.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Can I just say something? In terms of, I don't know, the thing is that the issue with sacking the manager like halfway through the season is that like it just creates like a lot of problems. Not saying that he shouldn't have sacked early. I think he should have gone, but it's just a case where okay, now they've brought Ragnick in and they're going to see him like throughout the end of the season. By next season, it would be the summer transfer window, and they would get a new manager most likely. And if they do get a new manager, the new manager hasn't played with the team. He doesn't know the players in the team. He doesn't know how they play. He doesn't know anything about the team. He's just more or less watched them on TV and just seen all of that. So he has to go into a transfer window blind, essentially, and more or less not know the type of players he wants to actually sign in that team, and more or less just go with what he has just seen rather than actually experienced. If he does happen to do that and the signings don't pull off, you're getting into a new season again. It comes January again, you know, no one really makes major signings in January that much. You go another whole season more or less, and you know the team still isn't playing the way you want to. I know obviously like Dan said, there were no like options for them more or less to go through, but it is just a bit frustrating when you know you get a manager before like the transfer window who hasn't even like played with the team or who hasn't even experienced anything with the team. So I don't really know how they're going to go about that one, but at the moment I don't want to be reactionary, but you know it could have also just been worth keeping character within the season. Like it doesn't really cost anything, and then just get a new manager. You know, they'll still have the same problem, I feel, but I don't know. It's just very, very tricky when you like don't like when you just sack a manager halfway through the season. It just presents a whole lot of other like dilemmas and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of this United team, I think I can put a lot of blame down to Ole. I don't think like his squad building is probably one of the worst I've seen. I don't know what he was trying to do. Like you could not see a clear pattern, a clear structure. I think more or less the Ronaldo signing just kind of capped off the. And I know a lot of people say that it wasn't really his signing, that it was more like, you know, it had to happen kind of thing. But I feel like the Ronaldo signing just capped off the whole like, you know, you don't know what you're doing kind of thing, because, you know, it just didn't really make sense at all. So I think he left United in a, don't want to say worse place than he met them, because like, I don't know, at the same time, he did push them up table. But in terms of squad building and like actually like trying to have a clear plan, clear path, like it was just not evident what he was really trying to do. And I feel like whoever does come in now is going to have a fairly difficult task to kind of like rebuild the whole squad again, more or less. But yeah.
Denzel, you're shaking your head. What's your thoughts on what's been said?
There are a few things I disagree with. The whole characters, keeping character in the season. Nah, I feel like getting Ranić was the smartest move, the smartest move available. I kind of knew that the season would be kind of not null and void, but the importance in the season, the fact that you've gone into a manager to the end of the season kind of like lessens the importance of it in a sense. I don't know, like not having a permanent manager is kind of just the way I look at the season changed, I guess. And then there was another thing you said. Ole leaving the club in a worse. I don't know if you suggested it or maybe it was just, I don't know. I don't think
I'm kind of in between on that one, because
I don't think that's fair on Ole, to be fair. If you saw the crap that we're going through before, like he definitely
no, he didn't. I wouldn't say left. Yeah, I wouldn't say left in the worst place. I wouldn't say left because United were pretty bad before he came in. But at the same time, I just think his whole squad, because like when he came in, like the whole thing about United was you were trying to like rebuild your squad essentially, and I think he did an awful job in your squad building, because right now it still looks like your squad needs a rebuild, and it's been 3 years or so.
Well, okay, okay. This whole rebuild, when I think of rebuild, I think of tear everything down and start from scratch. I don't think that needs to be done again.
The balance in your squad is horrific.
To some extent, I mean, if you're thinking of up to 4 or 5 players, you need to weed out from your starting next side. That is a rebuild, I think, in my opinion. And I can think of 5 players in your starting next side who shouldn't be there.
Okay, name
them.
I should name them. I don't think De Gea should be starting for you.
Nah, I don't think
Maguire should be. Obviously, you're reactionary. I get that. You have a lot of past.
Not even reaction,
and you love him.
But no.
But De Gea, when you become a serious side and you want to challenge and stuff like that, you will need a player who can contribute to your build-up play, and De Gea cannot do that. You also need a commanding goalkeeper who can come out, crosses, things like that. And De Gea cannot do that. What De Gea can do is save shots. And the moment where he was bad is because he wasn't saving shots. And that was it. And now he's saving shots again because you're getting more shots and because you're not looking good defensively. So he looks slightly better. When you do become a serious side, I don't think you should be looking to keep De Gea. That's my opinion. But I'll see what you have to say about that. So De Gea, Maguire,
Wan-Bissaka.
Nah, the Wan-Bissaka thing is
you can't win the title with Wan-Bissaka.
I'm not going to touch on Wan-Bissaka because everybody knows how I feel about
you cannot win the title.
I feel like it's such. Even today, I saw people moaning at him. He was actually good going forward today. That's the thing.
The whole midfield essentially. Bruno, everyone just tear it all down. Literally, I'm like literally the whole midfield.
You think despite he's had a bad season this season, but actually I just feel like. I don't feel like we should.
I don't know.
That don't make sense. He's played well for 2 seasons. He's had a bad. He's okay. He's not playing well this season. So we should just chuck him in the bin. No, that don't make sense.
I've always said everybody knows how. Like everybody, even United fans, know the type of player Bruno is. And
high risk.
As much as he can give you, is also the fact that he can also take so much away from you. So
do you think with a pattern manager? Do you think with like time and like a manager that is with him for a long period of time and knows what he wants from him, do you think he can turn Bruno Fernandes into something else? Let's say, for example, so you're looking at Bruno saying he takes away so much. If you put Bruno on a Man City side, do you think he's taken away from that side?
He doesn't work in a proper tactical.
Not tactically disciplined at all. When you put Bruno in a team, you start to think about so many other things. So you need a specific type of striker to play with Bruno. You need specific type of attackers to play with Bruno, and it just starts to get very complex. That's why I think. So right now, when you sign even Ronaldo, some attacking midfielders would work with Ronaldo. Like Odegaard, I feel will work with Ronaldo. Players, I don't think De Bruyne would work with Ronaldo. But once Ronaldo came in, everybody already knew that Bruno wasn't going to happen. It was almost more like the clearest prediction you can make as a pundit that it's going to affect Bruno's game. It's going to literally, because like a player like Ronaldo and Bruno cannot play in the same team and stuff like that. So you need to start thinking of a striker who can play with Bruno. You need to start thinking of wide players who can adapt to the way Bruno plays, because Bruno just finds himself like across the pitch. And in my opinion, if you do, I don't know, but I think that whole midfield needs to go. Ronaldo needs to go, definitely. And that's already 4 or 5 players, literally. And if you even start thinking about your wide, I don't really have a problem with your wide players. I'll be real. I just think like they're just like products of bad coaching. Anyway. I like Rashford and I like Sancho. I'll be very real. So I don't really have a problem with the white players, but I just think like a lot of them need better coaching. But from what I've already said, I've listed like 4 or 5 players, and even I mean, sure. He's one of those ones that can.
Wait, you guys, chill. Because I actually want us to continue on, but I want Sarah to talk about what he thinks about Rangnick, and then we'll talk more about the squad.
Yeah. I think Rangnick, I think he knows in the back of his head, like he's not got enough time really to really implement the 4-2-2-2. Because I just think the wide players, I don't think they don't press in the way which I think he did when he was in his whole teams. I don't know what it is like. And when he plays Bruno as one of the Lambs or the Rams, and then plays a winger or whatever, or Greenwood, it just looks at. You can tell Bruno looks out of place. He doesn't know whether to go wide or go in. Like, even in the first half today, we saw like Edence and who was the guy on the other side, Trincao, getting through so easily from what I saw. and that is like the most basic thing with a 4-2-2-2. The upper two have to stay very narrow, but also be able to go out wide. That didn't really happen, and that was actually with two wingers, in Sancho and Greenwood. In terms of managers, I think Ten Hag has said he wants to leave potentially at the end of the summer. He's looking for a new opportunity. I think he's going to be easier to get than Pochettino. But I think Rangnick's probably more built for the back end. I don't think we can tell as well. The players, they've already been squabbling with each other. It looks like that they're still recovering from the Oli situation, and like maybe not completely over it, but I don't know. There's still a bit of like disheartened nature of going around. Yeah, not really too much to be said.
Nah, I hear that. Let's carry on with that the squad building. So we're gonna go through the United squad, and obviously I know it's going to be tailored to a manager, so it might change. But just generally, players that we think are good enough that they are so adaptable to many other systems. So let's go through their squad. So what are we saying about the keepers? Really, Grant and Heaton, we don't care because they're second and third choice keepers, so it doesn't matter. But,
fourth even.
yeah, really.
Yeah, they're not going to play.
Really, the first choice is between Henderson or De Gea. For me personally, I would probably side with Henderson because I do think he's a more complete goalkeeper. But you know, it depends on what about you guys. So Dan,
De Gea is a better shot stopper than Henderson. From what I've seen of Henderson, he looks, like you said, more complete. But there's sometimes I've seen him where he has some real bozo moments. Like I remember against Liverpool, Salah scored a goal and his positioning was awful. Like his positioning looked like it was someone on pro clubs or something. So, oh no, I'm not fully convinced by Henderson, but I think I'm siding with Ori on De Gea. De Gea reminds me a lot of what we had with Leno, where like we were bad defensively and he was making a lot of saves. So in your mind, you're thinking he's saving us, but it's more to it than that.
Sarah?
I think the issue with Dean Henderson is we've only really seen him again face loads of shots at Sheffield United, where they faced a lot of shots. And he was one of their best players. So everything that went, all their progression and etc. went through him. So we also haven't really seen him play enough games, like 10 or 15 games for Man United. I don't actually think goalkeeper should be a priority. I know, like, we're looking at other positions maybe, but maybe for the moment and for new manager, I think they'd probably figure out that Dean or David is probably ideal. Yeah.
And I know Denzel's for De Gea, and I know Ori likes.
And you know me, it's for hate. Yeah. Let me just also say, like for most managers, like that do actually. I mean, in the past 5-6 years, I think only City and Liverpool have won the league. If I'm not mistaken, I think 5. I think City started from that 2017.
Well, when did Chelsea last?
Chelsea went in between then, since 17 to now. Because they went 22 now, 17, 22. So in the past 5 years, City and Liverpool.
They won it the league the year after Leicester won it, and then City won it. And then City won it.
And then Liverpool won that one in between. Yeah. So basically, both yes, more or less from Man City. Let's be real.
Both teams have very good
more or less for what's it called again? For Pep to more or less like when he started to like trigger the fact that he was going to go for the title. Like one of the first things he did was to get Ederson, which was a goalkeeper who could affect your build up. Same thing that Klopp did when he went for both Alisson and Van Dijk, but more in terms of Alisson, where he could also a player who could also affect your build up and also also similarly we've also seen with Arteta. So more or less all the very good coaches I rate in the league always go for unless you already have one. But I mean, it's customary to go for a goalkeeper who can affect like your build up if you want to like trigger a different style of play essentially. But so I think Henderson plays better from the back. Ideally, maybe they could even still get a new keeper, but I think Henderson is more than fine for like what they're trying to do. But yeah, I think that's just it, really.
I think what with Alisson Ederson, it did take both managers like 1 or 2 tries. He brought Bravo and he He just carries so many legs. So
yeah.
I feel like it's a very, very particular thing for the goalkeeper.
It's a very particular thing too. More or less, as a manager, you just need to find your keeper essentially.
And if we're hedging bets, I think they probably could make the decision out of one of these two goalkeepers.
As to one of two from them, that's true. That's true.
Moving on to the defense, or you said Maguire, and I'm quite shocked. And obviously, I hear with Maguire.
In fact, everyone actually.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, Jacob.
Scrap the whole defense.
But I mean,
I'll be real when
I say this, but I don't really see what Varane has brought to United. I don't know. I might get.
He hasn't played. Okay.
I might get some certain looks from Denzel, but
that's no. I agree with you, but I agree with you, but he hasn't played that many games. That's why I'm not going to get onto him.
He hasn't really played that.
No, but I don't think it's all their fault, though. I don't think, I think with defending, and especially like centre-backs, a system is very, very important, and a partnership is very important. And at Man United, under Oli, and even under Rangnick right now, there's not much
5 times.
There's not much consistency in the partnership, and there's no defensive structure at all. So, like, Varane, I think we know he's capable of being a top-class centre-back. And I think Maguire, in a good system, a good, strong defensive system, is capable of being a good centre-back. Maybe not a world-class or one of the best in the world, but definitely a competent and a good centre-back. And I think, I don't know if it's enough to win you a title, having Maguire in the defence, but I think he looks a lot worse than he actually is.
Even when he does look worse, he does do quite a lot of good things. I know people highlight his bad moments, but when you watch him, he's like, what's the FM term? He's like a stopper. Like, he's the one before. You get what I'm saying? He's the one that pushes higher, wins the ball back. And he's actually quite good at it.
But his decision-making is quite poor, though, and his self-awareness is really poor.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Like you were saying, I thought it was just like, because he's put in so many 1v1 situations, it's kind of like, you're going to put a full catalogue in it if you
do you know a thing for an experience, like quite an experienced defender, he's caught out of position quite a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And he hasn't got no pace, so the pace ain't saving him.
The thing is with Maguire, he's meant to be the captain as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing. He's not good enough to be a United captain. That's just the truth. Like, even like out of our centre-back partnerships, it gets on my nerves because Maguire will have a stinker and then he'll play the next game. Someone can have a great run of games and then have one stinker and then get dropped out the side, and it gets on my nerves. Like, I feel like Maguire's protected in the United side because he's the captain.
There was this.
It annoys me a lot.
There was a game last season. I think it was Sheffield that you lost or something like. He put on his Instagram story after they lost to Sheffield that a stat showing that he completed like the most long balls or something like that. I think after a moment like that, like, I would definitely just want you out of my club, because that, as a captain, to do something like that, that's just absolutely ridiculous. As a player in itself, he can be good. That's the thing. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. We've seen Maguire be good, like, for England. We've seen him be good for United, but he obviously has a problem with consistency, and he has bozo moments. And I don't know, as a defender, once your bozo moments just start piling up, it's just like as a centre back, you're the last line essentially between, you know, yourself and the goalkeeper. And one of the things you are meant to do is not make mistakes. Like, you're the one position on the field that is probably, you know, the one that shouldn't be. Obviously, like, you can't keep mistakes. People will make mistakes at the end of the day, but once it starts piling up, once you start getting quite out of position and stuff like that, it's just not a very good look. Varane Maguire partnership. Well, the thing is, on paper, I think that can actually win the league. I actually think it can, but
it suits them.
Like I said, but that's the thing. Football's not played on paper. So I guess, I don't know. It all depends on, like, the next manager and what they can do with it. Whoever does come in, and if they do prepare to use Maguire, then they should be ready to, like, you know, do some intense coaching or.
Yeah, I think whoever comes in needs to strip him of the captaincy as well.
Yeah, that's another one as well. True.
So that's
it just depends how much of a job the next manager is willing to do. If you're prepared to actually, like.
Is this brother still at the club, Pereira?
Yeah,
He's on loan.
He's on loan
He needs to go.
What's the
cost
name of
his
that club
club
again?
That whole
Yeah. Because
The whole
was it
thing, the whole
the Copa Libertadores. He cost them
Basically,
the
all
final.
4 of those players should probably
yeah.
go.
No, not this one. The one above
The
them.
row before
this
that.
one.
Yeah.
Would
That
be-
whole
Pogba.
row needs to go.
I think
Yeah,
Matic-
Pogba needs to go.
I
He
think
causes too many
Pogba
issues.
needs to have been. Pogba needs to have already been gone.
Yeah, he's
He's
gone.
so
He is
gone.
gone. Yeah.
Jesse come back to West Ham.
Yeah,
Was
they've
posting
got a
West Ham
couple-
pics, so
quite
probably will.
a few dead.
Yeah, he did.
I think
Yeah,
Cavani
yes.
as well, isn't it?
I think
Cavani will
Rangnick
probably
wants to stay.
Yeah, but I don't think he will.
He said with real desire.
And then Martial will probably be going as well.
Martial's gone. I think he'll go this window.
Yeah, United have some positions they need to improve, definitely.
United just kill me, man. Because like Cavani was actually even a better striker than now. Like he would have offered more, which is why it's so funny.
Cavani's the
just went
most
to
hard-working forward at the age of 34.
Yeah, but
And
he's been injured for most of the season. We're
so
playing him
funny.
now, though. We're playing him
The
now.
thing is,
though.
the thing is that like at the same time though, like I still understand. Like I still understand why they signed Ronaldo, despite all the craziness, despite all the fact that
I don't think Ronaldo's been the
rate it.
problem. That's the
fact that
he
I
hasn't
don't
been the
rate
problem.
the signing,
He's
the
not
fact
been the
everything.
problem,
I still see why they signed him. That's the thing. Like obviously, like the whole City thing, that was like one of the major things. You can't let him get to your rivals. And it's just Ronaldo. And at the end of the day, to be fair, if you're not thinking about it as a fan, if you're thinking about it as like a business, then signing Ronaldo was more or less a given, literally. Like, but you know, it all just depends on what now happens now, because Ronaldo is not going to bench, and you know, it just leaves you with what happens now. But yeah, I think United making Europa may even low-key be good for them, because I think Ronaldo goes after that.
Nah.
And then
He has nowhere to go to, though.
He has nowhere to go. To retire, man.
Yeah.
Done.
He's not going to retire.
He's 37 next month. He's
not-
done his
he's not
thing. He's done his
retiring,
thing.
man.
He's
He's not
given
going
his
out
heart
like
and
that.
soul and his body to the game. And just retire with your head up high. Just, you know.
I think
I
he
don't know why
must.
some players just like to drag it on.
I think
Just let it go.
he's waiting for the World Cup, innit?
Especially if Portugal
That's
don't make
true.
it, he'll retire. If Portugal
If
don't make it,
Portugal don't make it, if Portugal don't make it, then that's it. Like literally, he's won everything. Like, and the only thing he could win that he hadn't won, he can't like win it again, because the next World Cup will be in another 4 years. So.
Hey, don't count that guy out. We'll be
41. I don't know.
He's not playing the World Cup.
He'll be singing the goal.
That's asking too much.
I know his body's in pain. Like he's been carrying injuries as well. He plays through injuries as well.
Yeah, man. Like
those-
his knees are so
exactly.
messed up. Like sometimes I look at his leg and I'm like, what the he's been.
But he still plays through it, man. That's why.
Can I ask you a question? In this 4-2-2-2, who should be the two behind the two strikers?
I feel like the 4-2-2 system, the 4-2-2 system, it's okay. I'll answer your question first, and then I'll say something afterwards.
Yeah.
Because if they're meant to drift in wide and they play narrow, on paper it would be a Sancho and a Bruno, but that just doesn't work. We've seen it doesn't work. Maybe I think he should try maybe Rashford on the left. And then I don't know the right hand side. I don't know who occupies that.
I think those two are the most important positions in this system.
Because I don't think Sancho is good at the moment, but I don't know. Maybe try Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right. I don't think Greenwood's a midfielder. So but he's been playing. He's actually been doing that.
Your
He
last
actually
game,
presses.
your last game against Newcastle, did Van de Beek play there?
Van de Beek,
No.
bro.
Did Van de Beek play against Newcastle?
He's a permanent bench player, bro. He's permanent.
Nah.
So what? Ragnick hasn't been using him at all. Or...
No, he hasn't.
I think he should maybe play in one of those
There has
slots.
to be something else wrong with him then. There has to
Yeah,
be.
I think. I think the two managers will come in. I just don't think he's.
He might just be a very poor trainer. Very, very poor trainer.
Yeah,
apparently, people said he's a good trainer,
really.
but I just don't think he's all that. Personally, from what I've seen, I don't think he's all that. But another thing I was going to say,
I think he's a good player.
He's okay.
I think he should.
He's okay. He's not amazing. He's not as amazing as everyone makes him out to be. I think Man United have fans have a love They love him a lot. And
I think he could be good. I think he could be good though in that one of those slots.
If Ten Hag
He's
comes
quite
in,
a
he's
hard
playing.
worker.
I think he would. If Ten Hag comes in,
He's
then,
playing.
I mean, he's
Yeah,
playing.
he's playing.
That's the thing.
But we've got to move on.
I was gonna say something
What's your
quickly
final
though.
point?
I just don't think the 4-2-2 works.
No.
I feel like it just doesn't work.
Too
You
lazy.
can't play that system with lazy
Yeah,
players.
it's not.
And we have a
How
lot
is
of lazy players.
Cavani your hardest working player? He's the best player in the
Exactly,
system.
and
That is
and
ridiculous.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. The system, but you have to look at your personnel and realize that it's not going to work.
I hear that. United are in a pickle like usual, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Nah, I think we'll be out of the pickle, but I just don't like watching us play. It's just boring.
Rangnick is quite hilarious though, because even if you want to implement your style in a team, you also have to understand the reality of situations, like Denzel said. So when Arteta came in, he didn't immediately like start playing our 4-3-3 like and try and be like Pep Guardiola City. He knew that we didn't have the players for that, so we had to go to a back three. We had to adapt.
Yeah, you focus on your defense. And you work
exactly. You adapt to. So even if that's your system, you look at the players you have and you say, can these players do that? Can they? And if you see they can't, then you have to adapt. So it's quite like shocking that he's just thrown in this 4-2-2-2 with players who haven't even, had any form of coaching in this. It's very weird. But I mean, thankfully, it's not your permanent guy. But
we'll see what he does. But moving to the big game yesterday, Liverpool versus Chelsea was a great game, man. It was a great game. Liverpool. Because we have to have a conversation about Klopp. Let's go straight into it now. Because this isn't the first time, in my opinion, that Klopp's been outclassed. Because he got outclassed by Tuchel, got outclassed by Conte, in my opinion.
You think he was outclassed yesterday?
Bro, the way Liverpool was so chaotic.
It was a draw. It was a draw. I can't say that. And was he on the touch? Was he on the touchline?
No,
it was.
Bro,
he wasn't even on the touchline. We can't.
Man said what? Man said because he's not there, you don't pick the team. He picks the team.
But no,
bro,
Josh,
outclassed.
That's harsh. That is very harsh.
Outclassed.
Yeah.
Did Arteta outclass Pep? Did Arteta outclass Pep?
Yeah. Arsenal were much better than Man City.
We lost.
But they lost.
Yeah, you lost, but
you can't say someone outclassed someone if you don't get a result. Like
you can.
And no, you can't say you can't say he was outclassed. He still they didn't lose.
You can
Liverpool didn't lose.
But I think you're looking for a different word.
In context, when we talk about outclass, we're talking about like playing, like performance wise.
Playing.
No final results.
No, I think that's why the final result has to go into it. You can't say,
in terms of build-up play though, and general play, Chelsea were much better in the second half.
Because in the first half, Chelsea looked all at sea.
Against
against Liverpool.
Chelsea made mistakes.
Chelsea set the tempo in the first half.
In the first half, there was a couple of times where Liverpool should have scored.
Like halfway through the first half or so, or like 30 minutes or something, like the ties changed a bit in Chelsea. I think from at least like the 30th minute to the end of the game, I actually think Chelsea did a class.
Yeah, I do think Chelsea were the better team.
I think outclass is a very strong word. I think Chelsea, especially considering they drew, I don't think Chelsea outclassed Liverpool. I think.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's like the whole thing. Because like if we're just looking at the result, then no one can say like. I mean, how many times have you seen like? It's more or less like, why was everybody praising Potter last season when he was losing? Is it not because he was outclassing his opponents? Isn't that the same thing?
But it's not outclassed though. It's just that you played better. That's not outclassed is when there's a significant difference. So when we went to the Etihad, when we went to the Etihad and lost 5-0, we got outclassed. Like the other day when we lost 2-1 2 days ago, we didn't get outclassed. It was just a loss.
Because I'm looking at this as well. Look at the Tottenham-Liverpool game. Tottenham was so much better than Liverpool, in my opinion. So much better. But they drew.
Outclassed. You told them exactly. You told them outclassed Liverpool in that game.
Liverpool.
Like that is the definition. That is the definition of outclass. But that's the thing. It's not result. Like saying someone outclassed
someone and not get the result.
But surely that should be.
Like you have to get the result.
At your worst, you're still picking up draws. You're not losing. At your worst. That's the worst. You're saying they're being outclassed and they're still not losing.
Maybe it's an open debate, but in the context I'm putting it in, outclass is playing, having more class than the other team, like
But
playing with
also,
more class than the
you
other
said
teams.
yourself
Essentially.
that just because you're more attacking than the opponent, that doesn't necessarily mean you're better. Defensive football doesn't mean worse.
That's a good point.
No, but that's the thing. Liverpool weren't defensive. Liverpool came to push, to press, and Chelsea easily bypassed their press most of the time.
That's
The reason why
another good point. I'm
Liverpool,
literally about to say that Chelsea did bypass Liverpool's pressure very well.
and that's the thing. Most of Liverpool's chances were from Chelsea mistakes, in my opinion. So it was almost like.
But
Chelsea,
some of them was because of the.
Okay. Maybe in context, maybe we're all mistaking the word or class. Let's just say Chelsea played better than Liverpool. I mean, I think can we all agree on that?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
say,
and I'll say Arsenal play, and I'll say Arsenal play better than City, at least until like the red card. So yeah, so let's just keep the word. Our word is basic. So yeah, Chelsea did play better than Liverpool.
What I'm trying to say is Klopp very protected? Because when there are lots of games where Liverpool get our second best, there's never a focus on Klopp. It's usually on the players, isn't it? Because when it's
you have to take it into context though, because if you deep it, this is so the two games that you've brought up is Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
I wanted to bring up Man City as well because I think
Spurs at White Hart Lane, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and Man City at the Etihad.
Yeah,
They're three of the hardest fixtures. If we look at Chelsea, for example, when you went to Anfield, and I know you got a red card, you got dominated that game. Dominated.
See that's where the thing with Ori was saying. Chelsea sat back in that game and Liverpool created nothing.
But I wouldn't say they
remember the
created
second
nothing.
half, Chelsea brought on Thiago Silva and they went 5. I think it was 5. What was it? Was it 3-2 or something?
Yeah, but
and Liverpool didn't create nothing.
But you still walked away with a draw, which you guys were happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool have gone away to Stamford Bridge and got a draw. Maybe they didn't play fantastic and tactically it didn't work fantastically, but they've still walked away with a draw. So you say that Klopp has been protected, but he's walked away from White Hart Lane and Stamford Bridge with a draw each. When Spurs go to Liverpool at Anfield, do you think they're going to walk away with a draw and be upset?
No.
I think they'll be over the moon.
But it depends on the game state, the way the game is played, though. Because if the Liverpool Tottenham one that Tottenham drew 2-2, Tottenham would be so disappointed with that.
But even more so that Liverpool played badly and they still got the result. That's not something to criticize Klopp and Liverpool for.
I mean, you can criticize Klopp, in my opinion, for that. If the team is playing very poorly, in my opinion.
But you still got a result away from home against the top 6 side. Which other top 6 teams go away from home, play badly, and still get a result? Man City.
Why are they playing badly though? With the players they have, Liverpool have a better squad than both Chelsea and Spurs. So why are they playing badly against them? Obviously, Klopp deserves some criticism for that.
See, yeah, I think this is where we're getting confused because I do understand what you're saying and I hear it. Then is in terms of if you go there and you don't play well and you get a result, that's still positive, isn't it? But I'm just looking at the performance itself rather than the result and the totality. I'm looking at just the performance and how Chelsea, in my opinion, was so much better than Liverpool. And really, Chelsea should be disappointed that they lost because I didn't think Liverpool were that great.
Wait, were you talking about the game before or this current the game that just passed?
The game that just passed now.
You drew though.
Yeah, but Chelsea were the better team though.
Yeah, you said lost though. You guys didn't lose.
Oh, did I say lost? My bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like Klopp is very protected. Like no one ever mentions that. You know.
But did Chelsea miss many clear-cut chances though? Because I don't seem to remember you creating a lot of big chances.
No,
Chelsea should have won the game.
But I think Chelsea
you should definitely, especially in the last 10 minutes, you definitely had Liverpool under a period of sustained pressure. But I still don't think that you created a lot of big chances that you should or could have taken, which is the same thing that Liverpool done to you at Anfield.
Nah, Liverpool didn't really trouble us, in my opinion.
I mean, they pressured you for essentially 45 minutes. They didn't create much, but they still had you under the same pressure. Which is what you guys had on to them at Stamford Bridge.
I don't know. I feel like the context is slightly different. Let me go to
Josh, with your okay.
Yeah, Chelsea deserve to win. But first half, probably one of the best first halves of the season. Not gonna lie. If we're talking about deserving to win. Liverpool equally say, "Oh, 2-0 up. Why are we conceding 2 goals just before half time?" And then maybe it changes in the second half, and maybe Chelsea don't dominate in the second half. Yeah, I don't know. Chelsea deserved to win, but again, in the second half, you didn't actually create like clear chances. There wasn't many clear chances, was there? To be honest, I can't really think of any.
No.
So, but in terms of build-up play and keeping Liverpool contained, we did that. Except, but that was after halftime, not in the first half.
Nah, I hear that. What about Denzel?
Yeah.
But even your goal though, your Kovacic's goal was a wonder goal. That wasn't a big chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to answer your question about why doesn't Klopp get scrutinized, I think a bit of it is the fact that I just think it's a respect for him in the sense like what he's done. Because if you look at it like this, before he came to Liverpool, they weren't in a good position. I feel like when you've accomplished a certain amount as a manager, you're less likely to be scrutinized in a sense, if that makes sense.
Nah,
Sometimes it works to your advantage, sometimes pardon?
It depends on the person. It depends on the person.
Yeah,
But
maybe
Pep
it does
always
depend on
gets
the person.
scrutinised.
Yeah. Pep, I feel like everyone just has a Pep agenda, maybe wherever. Klopp is more, I don't know what it is with Klopp, but because of he came in and he implemented the style of play and he won them the Champions League and he won them the Premier League, then Liverpool, are you looking at criticism from Liverpool fans, or are you just looking for general criticism from anybody? Because if his fans aren't gonna
general consensus
after those 2 results that you mentioned, his fans aren't gonna turn on him and be like, "Oh, Klopp, blah blah blah," like they back their manager, innit?
Just to caveat, I'm not saying about like turning and saying that he's a poor manager or he's overrated or anything, but it's just
I get what you mean, but I don't think like they're gonna be nitpicking, especially the fact that they didn't draw any of they didn't lose any of those games. I feel like maybe if they lost, he would have got more scrutiny, but he didn't lose the 2 that you mentioned, so I don't know.
Fair enough. What about you, Ari? What's your thoughts on the Klopp? Do you think he's too protected or?
I wouldn't say he's maybe slightly. I think he's slightly protected to some extent. I don't know, but like this whole more or less Liverpool's, I don't know, golden era, whatever it's called, like it's beginning to look very sus when you look at it long term. Because if City win the league again this season, that is 5 years, and they've only managed to win 1 in between. So people, I feel like after this season, people may begin to realize that Liverpool's like golden era is a bit fugazi or like just a bit like sus. So, but yeah, I feel like he does that period last season where Liverpool were like losing consistently. I think he did come under a lot of criticism during that period, so which is fair. This season, I don't know, City already cutting away, so but still I feel like the media still hasn't really like gotten onto it. But maybe just mildly protected, but I guess after the season, I feel like definitely the media would hone down on him that like why hasn't he won another Premier League title since that time? But he's also been unlucky to be playing with he's also been unlucky to be playing with Pep in this era, because he would have dominated seriously if not for Pep. So a bit unfortunate, but yeah, sorry.
I think even when he moans, and this is where a lot of people pick up, like for the last 2 seasons about injuries and COVID and like not having enough breaks and stuff, he'll moan, but the media won't focus in on it as much. Whereas if it's another manager, they will. I find that a lot. When it, like in his interviews and stuff, obviously, I feel like if he loses, like in this result, he wouldn't come out and say Liverpool played shit or played poor. He'll just say we were very good. He'll never come out and say that they were bad. And he's never done that, and I think that's starting to show a little bit. I think he's gonna end his Liverpool career potentially regretting that he hasn't won more league titles but that's not entirely his fault with FSG and stuff like that. But I think people, the media doesn't really catch on to how much he moans and how much negativity he has in his interviews. Because let's be honest, most of his interviews, I don't actually ever see him happy ever, really. Like for the last year, he's not really been happy. So
There's no winning title, isn't it?
he's just
So,
never
He's disgruntled a lot.
It's not even just that, though. He gets away with it from the FA and referees
Yeah.
as well. Like,
Oh yeah, that's true. If it was a
I think
Mourinho,
every game he loses or it doesn't go his way, he'll go and approach the referee and start shouting in his face after the game. And I mean, I don't know if you guys watched West Ham versus Palace, but Vieira got booked for doing that. Last year, I remember Slaven Bilic got sent off for going and speaking to the ref. Like anyone else who approaches the refs gets a booking, but he can go and do whatever he wants to the refs or the fourth officials and get away with it.
and they call it passion. They disguise it by saying it's passion.
That's a good point. Mourinho would get battered.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The media would pick up on every little thing he would say. He doesn't get anything.
Mm.
The amount of fines he probably should have got when he's been calling out Sean Dyche and Chris Wilder and all these guys like the last 2 years, nothing.
I think it's just about the characters. Like with Mourinho, when he says something, it can be the truth, but they look at it as him being cheeky. When Klopp says it, it's he's passionate and he feels strongly about like. At the end of the day, it's the same thing that they're doing, but one's getting scrutinized and one isn't. He's kind of like the media's darling boy.
Yeah, he's a media darling.
It's just, and he doesn't even treat the media well. That's the thing.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I don't understand about it too.
But then it works both ways because Pep is way too modest and way too like what's the word, bumlicky and shit. Like you know,
I feel like Pep's mad passive aggressive. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of passive aggressive. I'll be so like in his interviews.
What did you say? You said I destroy football.
Yeah, he's so passive aggressive in his interviews.
You might just be a psycho underneath.
Yeah,
he was on Stony Island yesterday, so
yeah.
Let's move on to Chelsea and let's even just talk about Lukaku quickly.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah. What are you saying about that? Because like initially, obviously, when I first saw it, I was like, "Yo, that's a bit." But it's like I've seen this so many times with players saying, "The club's this, the club's that." Me and Dan were saying about Ronaldo, innit? Ronaldo said, United treat him like a slave or something like that.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Or something.
Yeah, but wait, was this after he left though?
Nope.
I think this was when he wanted to.
This was
the
year before he left. The year before he left, he said,
I need to Google that.
I feel like a slave at this club.
And
Ferguson flew out to him and convinced him to stay for another year.
Oh yeah, and then he promised him that he would leave the next season. Yeah, I do remember that. But I just no, it's okay. I'll let Josh get into it and I'll talk about the
no, it's just it was very mad. Like shouldn't really be saying all these things, innit? Like, you just come in 6 months and you're saying how much you love Inter and stuff like that and all this and that. Obviously, for me, I don't really care. You say what you want, but you're gonna make the fans angry, innit? But I was thinking he did say something when he left Inter that he was gonna come out and tell Inter the reason why he left in it. So I don't know if that adds greater context.
Yeah, but do it after you leave Chelsea or something. I don't do it after you've been there for 6 months and.
It's not even about doing it after you leave. Do it at the right time when you're winning.
Yeah, exactly.
When is the right time?
PR moment.
When you're winning, when everything's rosy, people don't really care. But right now you come in, you haven't really set the world alight, so it's gonna be a bigger issue, isn't it?
I don't even think it's to do with that. I think even if they were winning, the whole situation would have been. Let's get into it.
No, say your thoughts.
I just don't think the timing of it really matters, whether you're winning or you're losing. What you did it was just a terrible PR move. I don't know. I think he's managed by Rock Nation or anything like that. I feel like they're Americans, innit? They love entertainment. They love drama. This ain't this is not the NBA.
They were demanding for a trade, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the playoffs.
Basketball Association. Like he needs to realize this is the English Premier League. This is hardcore football. This is passion. We're not here for all that lights, camera, action, all that glam BS. This is football, not American sport.
Because Harry Kane done an interview on a golf course with Gary Neville, basically in a come and get me plea to Man City. And everyone has just forgotten about it. He scored 2 goals all season and everyone's forgotten about it.
Lukaku's was worse.
Lukaku's was definitely worse. Because he just got here.
Because Harry Kane has credit in the bank. Harry Kane has done so much for Tottenham and he's scored so many times. And Tottenham are crap. They're not.
I hear you, but even when he done that interview, no one really held it against Kane.
Nah, I wouldn't.
Nah, he did know. He did get
I
scrutinised.
wouldn't hold him against because he has more credit in the bank because of what he's done for Tottenham. Lukaku hasn't done nothing for Chelsea. You're just a nobody, bro. You just come in, 100 million.
I hear that, yeah, but
Mm.
I feel like in football, especially, yeah, there's no loyalty. Like clubs don't give players any loyalty. Players should, in my opinion, players shouldn't give clubs any loyalty. There's no loyalty from fans to players. The only loyalty in football is fans to clubs. Because if a
Yeah.
player is not playing good, a club has no problem cutting them off. If a bigger club comes in for a player and offers them money, a player has no problem going to the bigger club. So I don't know why fans demand loyalty from players or from
Fans aren't even loyal themselves.
exactly.
Fans aren't
Yeah.
loyal.
Exactly.
Yes.
The only thing is with that, I just think it's fugazi how he comes to Chelsea, goes, "Oh yeah, it was my dream to return to the club that I loved when I was a Chelsea child. There's only one club in the world that I'd come back to, and that's Chelsea. I've unfinished business here." And then come out in an interview 6 months later and say, "Yeah, no, actually, there are 3 other clubs that I'd rather play for: Barcelona, Bayern, and Real Madrid. Those are the clubs that I really want to play for. I want to go back to Inter Milan." And then he mentioned City as well. I don't know why he mentioned City. That was kind of odd. Whereas like, they offer me high wages, but it doesn't add up. It's like you're saying one thing and then you're saying another thing. Like if you're gonna try to do this whole PR American BS, at least be authentic with it. Like don't say one thing and then flip flop the next. Like it doesn't make sense.
I hear that. I mean, I don't mind honesty in it. I don't mind honesty. If you're gonna be truthful, be truthful. I don't mind. I'm not.
It's not truthful because he said one thing and then said another thing. Like
if he's that thankful to Inter, he would have stayed there on half his wages. Like,
He wasn't.
It's begging Lautaro that he's gonna go.
He's just
Telling him he's gonna go back there.
The whole situation is very weird, and it's not like they even like forced him or the interviewer asked these questions. He went out of his way to purposefully say these things, he wanted to make a point, and I don't know. Yeah, I think Chelsea should just cut ties with him.
But he made it out. He made it out. The issue at Chelsea is that the system, and Tuchel is deliberately playing a different system to not accommodate me.
The attack on the manager was bad.
I don't think that's very fair.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
To be honest, look, we know how life is. Once he starts bagging again.
It's very easy for players to go into a change room and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." That's the easy part, I think, apologizing to your teammates. But then to everybody else, to the fans, it's going to be like, "Oh, who knows?"
Well, apparently, I had rumors that apparently some of his teammates agreed with.
Agreed with him.
Yeah.
I heard that Tuchel consulted some of the players on drop him, and a lot of them agreed that he should be dropped. So it looks like it's a split dressing room.
One thing.
Yeah, I guess that happens every 3 years, 2-3 years. The dressing room split.
And Lukaku ain't even a loyal player anyway. He's never stayed at a club more than
he
like
kisses the badge every
2 years. Yeah. So
I don't know, man.
Be at Chelsea for long anyway.
The memes are the funniest.
I think the Scudetto and everything kind of got to him.
Yeah.
He's also a very proud player. Very proud. And a lot of things also get to him very easily. So he's so easy to like bait out. I think a lot of the things also like social media and everything. Like I think that's one of the things why I feel like why he gave the interview and just did that. Like he's just
I don't think does he even actually mean or
very weird player
to the Inter, like saying sorry to the Inter fans that you have to leave. He doesn't mean it.
Yeah. Like just a very, very weird player.
He even did the interview in Italian as well, man. He's taking a flipping piss. Like
very weird player. I don't know.
So odd.
I guess let's just see how it goes for him. But the whole situation is just very weird. Just very, very weird.
And also big shout out to Fabrizio, bruv. That was a masterclass, bruv. The traction that this guy must have got. He did his thing. He did his thing.
Still any credit he's gonna get.
And there's still another part to come out allegedly.
Bro, we don't
because it's a 4-part interview apparently. So there's still more. It could get worse from here. You don't know. Oh gosh.
That's a sticky one still, man. But let's move on to another team in London. They might have lost to City, but I feel like Arsenal got a lot of plaudits for their performance, and it was a very good performance. But the question I wanted to ask: has Arteta finally won like the majority of the Arsenal fan base? Are we getting to the point where people are starting to look at Arteta and say, you know what? You might be the guy. You might be the guy. I see Dan smiling. Dan, tell me, what are you saying? Is it Arteta in now?
With the Arteta, the pendulum has swung a lot recently in the last 2 years, but I think, and it's mad because we lost. Like, we didn't win. We didn't even draw. We lost. But I think, especially after the way we performed against a Man City team that's just won 10 games in a row, that's however many points clear at the top of the league, that is, I'd say, one of the top 3 to 5 teams in Europe. The fact that especially in the first half, we dominated them. Even in the second half, they had 2 shots on target and one of them was a penalty. Like, I think that performance has won Arteta a lot of fans, a hell of a lot of fans. And I don't know, I wouldn't say all the fan base is Arteta in, but I'd say a lot of the fans that were previously Arteta out have gone to a more we'll see what he does approach, where they're not demanding him to be out, but they're comfortable enough to wait and see what he's got to the end of the season, to the end of next season, and comfortable to, especially with the next transfer window, comfortable to give him more funds, because I mean the signings we've got last window, I criticized this a hell of a lot, but I'm very happy to say that I got it completely wrong. The signings that we brought in seem to have been very, very beneficial for our team.
And what about you? How's your feelings towards Arteta? Are they changing or still the same?
No, they play good football. I'll give them that. But it's a thing where it's all lovely and rosy until it hits the fan, if you get what I mean. Like, he drops a couple points outside the top 4. You go back to hitting them. It can all crumble very easily. That's the way I look at it. I have to give respect to him. He's implemented the style of play, and they're playing good football. But I don't think it's enough for him. I feel like you have to look at the end of the season. You have to look at the end of the season on where Arsenal finished. I don't think now you can ease off on him and just be comfortable with what he's doing, because if, like I said, you could lose a couple games and then everyone's on him again. So it's see what happens.
All right, how you feeling? Like your prayers are coming into fruition now. Man are starting to see the vision.
I don't know. To be fair, before the start of the season, I don't know if I predicted us to come top 3, top 4. The only exception, so I did raise Arteta to really high standards before the start of the season. So the only thing where at this point, what I would really take would be for us to not make top 4, but be quite close to it. And by quite close to it, I mean at least a range of like 3 points or just something along the lines of that. But at the same time, I feel like the problem with Arteta that everyone has always been, it's more or less been like results based, and you couldn't even get your point across without people just shouting eighth, and it just becomes to a point where like I couldn't even bother to even just say anything like, oh, at least like, can't you see like what he's trying? Can't you see this? Can't you see that? And I don't understand as the point of like a fan, and even like just looking for me in general. At the end of the day, you want to see the points on the table. You want to see the league position. Like, I won't deny that and say like, at the end of the day, it's a realistic situation. So nobody cares how good you're playing if you're not winning the games. Like, it's all for what exact. So I mean, now we are getting some results in. I really think we should have won that City game. Still hurts. But just the way we played against them. Also, remember when we played Liverpool? I was like, I'm not really going to be the upset. In fact, if we lose to Liverpool, like that's not one of the things but I'm more concerned in how we play. And we didn't play well against Liverpool. And I will be real, when we lost 4-0 to Liverpool, I was a bit concerned because it seemed like all our hard work has just like not really shown anything. But just seeing how we played against City, the best team in the league, and we actually played better than them, is just very, very like one of the things I used to dream about, more or less. But I think we still need to be patient, still not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see how a couple windows go, the January window, the next summer window. But all I know is by next season, if we're not in a position where we can be comfortably in top 4, and I mean comfortably, then I would have to say that there is really nothing we can do from there. But at this moment, I'll just be optimistic as I usually am. But one problem I've always been is that once everybody, I feel like, starts to kind of get on their Arteta thing, I feel like it's just, maybe I'm being superstitious, but it just feels like everything kind of will go downhill from there. But I guess we just take things one thing at a time, and let's just kind of see how the season goes by. But there is still he's still not a perfect coach for sure. He's still not a perfect manager. There's still lots of stuff for him to work on. But the fact that this is his first job and we can see his progress, like with our eyes, how he's, improving, is just very nice to see, to be fair. But let's just see where he goes from here. Yeah.
Sarah, what about you? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting because, obviously we spoke, he started off, he came in, focused on like the defense and stuff, and I realized, we got pretty shit options. Like the midfield is a calamity. Focused on that, obviously had the really good boost and got loads of results. And he went through that period where, obviously he was trying to get rid of players, play Saka and implement him in the team and whatnot. I think now, again, yesterday, that was one of, that is the most pressure I've seen City been on, for the last couple of years. I think they honestly couldn't build up from the back. I think Saka and Martinelli pressed really well in the wide areas. How Rodri and Ake did not get 6 yellow cards is beyond me. That's it's crazy. And I think the two main things that Arteta needs to focus on going forward is identify probably what type of striker he wants, because I'm still unsure. He could literally be anything. And I think that will come that's probably the next phase of his development, understanding where the striker fits in. Because I still don't know. Yeah, Lacazette is a very good, well-rounded striker, but is he really that guy? Not sure. And then also a partner potentially for Partey going forward, and also someone at the disciplinary, because the fastest team to 100 red cards in Premier League history is not a nice stat. I know obviously it was a bit unfortunate and whatnot, but there are a few key areas I think to focus on. But no, I would still think maybe the end of the season, because I still think realistically the kids aren't going to play every single game. They can't really. And you've still got a lot of deadwood that you probably need to get rid of. And as good as some of the signings have been, some of them is shit as well. So let's wait till the end of the season. But yeah, definitely give it to the end of the season. In terms of next season as well, I don't think you could say potentially you're going to be straight up top 4, but you definitely want to be because I think Tottenham, if they continue, you definitely want to be rooting for top 4 consistently now. That's pretty much it.
Let's focus on another manager. So this will be the final Premier League topic. Rafa. Obviously, we've spoken a bit about him. Obviously, they lost again against Brighton. The appointment at the time, it looked kind of standstill. It was not anything progressive in a sense, and even looks like they're regressing right now because they don't look good. If they were to sack him, who would be the best appointment they could make, but who's the most realistic one they could also make? So almost the fancy one, obviously within realism, and then probably the most realistic one they could make. So let me start with Denzel. Do you think they should sack him first of all? Who should they replace him with?
I don't think they should sack him. I don't think getting a new manager in is gonna do much for them personally. The dream one, Valverde's available, but I don't think he'll go Everton, and Emery, but I don't think he didn't want to leave for Newcastle. Newcastle have a ton of money that's going to be injected into the club, so I don't think he would want to go to Everton. Realistically, who's on the market? Maybe a cheeky Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You never know. I'm joking. I actually honestly though, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, no, I think that's a bit too. It's a step too high for Lampard. Personally,
Leo Jardim.
No, they should throw the bag at Ruben Amorim, the Sporting Lisbon manager, and just hope that he takes that job. Either that or Graham Potter, because with Rafa, the thing with Rafa is he was good in about 2007, and appointing him is not going to bring them forward. And in this Premier League, if you're not moving forward then you're moving backwards because everyone else is improving season by season by season. So, and especially like the business they done in the window, they're signing squad players. Like you're signing players that are not going to bring you to that next level. And all the teams around you are signing players that are going to bring them to the next level. So you're going to get overtaken by even teams like Villa are going to overtake you. So yeah, they need to find a manager, and maybe not sack him now because it's mid-season. So as Ori said previously, like it's hard sacking managers mid-season, but end of the season, I think they have to move on from Rafa Benitez and try and find a direction.
100%. All right.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Emery just before Denzel said it. But yeah, like if he wasn't willing to go, no. I mean, obviously Everton is I don't know, bigger, but I don't know if they're bigger, but Everton is, I don't even want to say better position, but the fact that he couldn't go Newcastle, I don't know. I don't really think he'll be down, like Denzel said, to go Everton. But I don't really know who else I can think of that is available. I did think about Nuno. But I don't know, just how bad he was in the end of Spurs kind of just tainted everything I think about him. But I think he is like that 7th, 8th kind of manager kind of team. And I think that is where Everton is in terms of the other teams in the league.
Is it Villas-Boas you're thinking of?
Sorry?
Are you thinking of Villas-Boas?
Wait, no.
Oh,
but that is a shout actually. Yeah, that is a shout actually.
I've got
don't know really. Potter is a very good one as well. Potter is a very good shout. I think Everton actually does seem like a nice stage for his progression, going from Brighton to Everton. And they probably Everton to a bigger club someday. But yeah, Potter is definitely a shout. But yeah, the whole Rafa issue, I don't know. It's just like Dan said, he's a thing of the past, really. He did start a bit well, got a couple games in, but long term just never really seemed like the one. But yeah, he's just been so poor, so poor. Poorer than probably even if you thought he was going to be bad, I don't think anyone thought he would be this bad because they have been. I don't know what position are they now. Probably like
15th, 16th,
15th or something like that. It's quite bad.
I've got a big take on Everton. I think they have been the worst squad building team for the last 5 or 6 years. Potentially in 10 years, I think their squad building has been atrocious. Like
it's been
on 20 attacking midfielders. Now they have no attacking midfielders. Not really much going on with them, to be honest. I think Rafa, unfortunately for him, I don't think he's probably got it all in his mind about the club he's chosen to go to and whatnot, and the Liverpool links and stuff. Mashuri, the owner, just no cohesive plan in terms of buying. Think about the types of managers they brought in as well. Rafa, Sam Allardyce, fucking Marco Silva, all very contrasting styles. I just had a look. I think Lucien Favre left Dortmund and he still hasn't got a job. I reckon he'd be a very good option because he can steady the ship. He plays decent football. But they need to sort their squad out because at the moment, we've noticed they've had to play Godfrey at fullback and stuff like that, which is not suitable. They're playing kids, and even though Anthony Gordon scored 2 goals the other day, they're just terrible. Some of their players on ridiculous wages. It's just shit. And then they always go for this spell, obviously, but we're they're going to challenge for top 4, and then we're going to make that step from the 6th club after Moyes left and be a top 4 contender. That's literally not happening now. They're getting worse and worse every year. I feel sorry for the Everton fans, but yeah, fuck them.
Nah.
They basically want to be what West Ham are, basically. If we think about it, they want to be that 4th place potentially contender, right? Yeah,
that's what they're meant to be. That's what.
That's what. They've fallen off a cliff. Right.
Yeah, there was a point where they were. I don't know.
And they have one of the richest owners in the Premier League as well.
I'm really thinking back to those Everton days. They had some quality players there. Yeah. I don't know how they didn't build on that. They just completely fell off the chart.
He's having to play 3 DMs, and there's no link to the attack. And Richarlison was being left on his own, and Rondon as your backup striker is just not the one.
Really. To be honest, actually, you know what? You're saying a good point because they have had a lot of injuries. So maybe you do have to kind of, you do have to kind of give him a bit of a leeway, but still, man, I don't know.
Yeah, he's been chucked in the deep end.
Yeah.
Like their sporting director left as well. So
yeah, brand guy.
yeah.
But like even the overall direction, like they've gone from Carlo Ancelotti, who's
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
really like attacking manager, to Rafa Benitez, who plays counter-attacking. Like, where's the continuity of
Exactly.
like, style or type of play? Like, it doesn't make sense. How do you expect players to like adapt? Because they sack managers pretty quickly. How do you expect to players to continually improve when you're chopping and changing all the time?
You know what I think they're trying to run themselves like a proper like 2000s club in a sense.
Yeah, they're like 10 years too late.
Yeah. And they needed an owner like him 10 years ago, man. Like,
And a manager like Rafa 10 years ago.
yeah.
They're just chucking money at like all sorts. Like they're building a new stadium. Like what are they doing to the stadium? Like extending it and making like a waterfall.
I think they're
on the
building
side
a
or
new
some shit.
one,
Yeah, there's like it's just fucking nonsense, isn't it? Like I don't know what's going on.
It does look a bit raggedy, I can't lie. It does. It looks mad raggedy right now. I won't lie to you. But moving on from the Prem, let's talk about Afcon real quick and the controversy, especially with Watford. Hey, Watford are doing a mazzoline. Apparently, obviously Dennis can't go. Apparently, Sarr can't go to the quarterfinals, they're saying. And then I think there was another two that couldn't go. Or they were trying to stop.
Ekong, I think.
Ekong, yeah.
I think there was a Moroccan guy or something. I can't remember. But it's like, what's our thoughts on the media, like, and just the way the whole reaction of Afcon has been? Because, to be honest, I've kind of gotten it in a sense where I feel like there is some racial undertones to it. Obviously, we're in Europe, Africa isn't respected, but I do understand it in a sense where Afcon is in the midway during the season now. And you're seeing a lot more European-based players play for Africa as well. So there's a greater pool of players leaving now. So it is of a greater effect to clubs now than it was probably 10 years ago, where there probably wasn't as many African players. Because I remember when Chelsea had it was Drogba, Kulu, who else? Essien, but Essien was injured a lot. So it wasn't like a lot of players going. But obviously now, 10 years later, it seems like every team has quite a few African players going. So it's of a bigger detriment nowadays, but I can see both sides to it. But yeah, Dan, what's your thoughts on the whole Afcon coverage?
Me? Oh, sorry.
No, Dan.
Oh, Dan, do you want to go first?
No, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a fan of Afcon being in January, but I don't know. The explanation for why it isn't played in summer is because of the heat conditions and stuff like that. But, which is fairly understandable. But yeah, I just think European clubs and stuff like that, like when you sign African players, you expect these things. You know, there's Afcon in January. You know they want to participate in their country. You know they're going to go. So when the time comes, acting like it's just something that caught you unawares and trying to pull strings and act weird just to not let them go. It's just very it's a very strange type of behavior. And this is more or less only possible because it's Afcon. So these clubs and stuff, they don't respect it as much as they would other organizations and stuff like that. I mean, like the European like footballing community essentially is UEFA, and I mean UEFA is a very highly respected. If UEFA say they wanted to throw a competition, any point in the season, all the clubs will more or less let every single one of their players go. Just the same thing as look at how like strong. Obviously, I know FIFA is the world this thing, but just look at how strong FIFA are to be able to do a World Cup in November, and people don't even think about like how the effects are going to have on their players. Coming back into the team, stuff like that. Like obviously nobody can. They feel like they can't complain and stuff like that. But when it comes to CAF, they think, oh, okay, it's just Africa, so we can kind of have a squabble with them and stuff like that, which is just very disrespectful to not only the competition but the players and the continent itself. So on that note, I hope Watford get relegated. But yeah, it's just very, very embarrassing from the club itself. I mean, I do know when they did sign these players, they obviously knew they were signing African players, and they obviously knew that they would have to play in Afcon and stuff like that. So I don't know what more or less they were expecting and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I don't even think they missed that many games. I think it's just 2, and
2
also
weeks. I
depending
think
on
it's
how
2
long.
weeks worth of games.
Yeah, and also depending on how far these certain players even go in the competition. So at the end of the day, you might find that player just missing 1 or 2 games.
But it's
Are you
like
really going to
this week's FA Cup week anyway, or
yeah, exactly.
Carabao Cup week.
Yeah.
So one of the
are you
weeks
really
is-
going to?
Yeah.
Are you really going to jeopardize and just affect the relationship you have with a player and the club, and stop a player from representing his country just because of a game or 2? I don't know. Yeah, it's just quite very, very poor from Watford themselves and any other club. I don't know who is trying to stop their players from going for Afcon.
Napoli did it too.
What?
Napoli did it as well.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
is Koulibaly going?
No,
with
the
those
striker.
Osimhen.
Yeah.
With Osimhen.
Wait,
I
Osimhen
think
can't go?
Osimhen. I think Osimhen's because of the injury.
Yeah, but I think he
Oh, is it
announced
because
on
of
Twitter
yeah.
that he was going to play.
Because
I
Nigeria
don't think
deliberately
Napoli
picked the biggest
purposely.
squad because they knew that they had to cut it down because of injuries and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think Napoli purposely stopped him because I think
But no,
okay.
I was hearing stuff that Napoli were trying to stop Osimhen.
we're trying to.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know most of these clubs would. I mean, at the end of the day, if they had a chance to, they definitely will. I didn't really hear anything about Chelsea. I don't think they did. I didn't really hear anything. Liverpool too. I didn't hear anything about that. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Masuaku's going.
I don't think Congo made it to Afcon.
Yeah, well, there you go. And then I think Ben Rama's the only player from West Ham.
Yeah, Ben Rama has gone. I saw him.
Yeah, he's got good chances. To be fair, I think generally speaking, apart from maybe Copa and Euros, no other continental competition is really respected. None of them. The Americas one, the Asia Cup.
That's true.
None of them are respected. And it's actually quite sad because now obviously we're seeing a lot of young players picking their native countries as well. And I think also the big concern this year was obviously COVID and stuff. And they're probably like, oh, we want to keep the squads as big as possible because of injuries and the quarantining and shit. But you're going to have to contend with that anyway. So does it really make a difference? Not really.
Yeah. I think the COVID thing is just an excuse.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a problem when, other competitions were happening and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just a very lazy excuse in terms of that. But, yeah.
Is it being shown on TV? Because I knew that was a big
Afcon.
thing.
Yeah.
It's usually on
It's on that. It's normally on ITV4 or Eurosports back in the day.
Eurosports,
yeah.
I heard Sky Sports have coverage this year.
Really?
Oh man,
Interesting. I prefer it on ITV though, but we'll see.
They do, but yeah. Sarah, you mentioned transfers.
I'll do one because I need to go. Morata looks like he's going to Barcelona. I think that's quite a weird move. I think Xavi really likes it.
Guy.
So, no, they need a striker, and they've got Ferran now as well. It looks like it's going to be a done deal. So, yeah, it's better than Braithwaite and Luke de Jong. So,
The thing is with Barca,
Yeah.
I don't get there was a quote from Laporta saying that, oh, be afraid, we're back or something like that. I was thinking you can't even register these guys.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And two, where did this sudden influx of money come from? Must have been from the Spanish government or something.
Goldman Sachs have I think they've invested I think they got a loan, like a £2 billion loan or something. Another loan from Goldman Sachs, which they're still paying back the old one though, which is kind of weird.
They're running themselves into the ground.
He said that as soon as I think he was asked about Haaland and how Florentino Perez has said, oh, he wants to get Mbappe and Haaland, and then he said the thing about, we're back and we can still compete.
Well, Laporta,
yeah,
it's just weird.
I think it's
focus on getting your club back into the Champions League before you start talking about the big dogs. Like, calm down a bit, you know those guys anymore. Like, chill.
Actually, next week we'll do a more on transfer.
We should do a full roundup, I think, because there'll be more rumours as well.
Because FA Cup,
yeah,
we can mention
Slow news week next week.
So yeah, I think that's it from us, you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. You know, as the usual, smash the like button, like, comment, subscribe, and share with your people. Let's get the channel up. Happy New Year. You see, all of us are back together for first time.
Yeah.
Come on. Nice to have everybody on. But yeah, people, we out. See you.